My name is Rachel. I am 35 years old, and this is my story. For 10 years, my life was a happy song. I knew all the words. I loved the melody. I lived with my husband, Daniel, in a nice house on a quiet street. Our house had a big tree in the front yard. In the autumn, the leaves turned a beautiful red color. I loved that tree. It felt strong and safe, just like my life. Daniel was my everything. We met in college. He was studying business. I was studying to be a teacher. He was smart and funny. He had a kind smile. When he looked at me, I felt like the only person in the world. We got married a year after we graduated. Our wedding was simple, but full of love. We promised to love each other forever. I believed in that promise with all my heart. We had a son. His name is Leo. He is 7 years old. He has Daniel's smile and my eyes. Leo was our sunshine. Our little family was my perfect world. Daniel had a good job at a big company. I was a first-grade teacher at the local school. Our life was not exciting, maybe, but it was full. It was full of school mornings, family dinners, and bedtime stories. It was full of love. I thought it was everything I ever wanted. And then there was Clara. Clara was my best friend, not just a friend. She was like my sister. We knew each other since we were 5 years old. We grew up together. We shared all our secrets. We dreamed our dreams together. When I married Daniel, Clara was my maid of honor. She stood beside me and cried happy tears. She loved Daniel too. She always said, "You found a good one, Rachel." Our trio was perfect. Me, Daniel, and Clara. She was Aunt Clara to our son Leo. She was at every birthday party, every holiday dinner. She was family. Clara's life was different from mine. She was beautiful and adventurous. She had many different jobs. She traveled to different places. She had many boyfriends, but none of them were serious. She often said she was unlucky in love. I always felt a little sad for her. I wanted her to have the happiness that I had. My stable, happy life. Sometimes she would come to our house after a bad date, or when she felt lonely. I would make her tea. We would sit and talk for hours. Daniel would often join us. He would make jokes to cheer her up. He was always so kind to her. I loved that about him. He treated my best friend like his own sister. Our home was her second home, her safe place. I never thought that my safe place could become a place of secrets. I never saw it coming. My happy song was about to end, and a sad, quiet silence was about to begin. The change started slowly. So slowly, I didn't even notice it at first. It was like the weather changing from summer to autumn. One day, you just feel a little chill in the air. You don't think much of it. But then, the chill stays. Clara lost her job. It was a marketing job she didn't like very much anyway. But she felt lost. Of course, I told her to come and stay with us for a while. "Stay as long as you need," I said. "Our home is your home." Daniel agreed immediately. "Of course," he said. We're family. So Clara moved into our guest room. At first, it was nice. It felt like our old days in college, like a sleepover that never ended. We would cook dinner together, watch movies. Leo loved having her around all the time. She played games with him, read him stories. But then, things started to feel different. Clara and Daniel started spending a lot of time together. While I was at work, they were both at home. They started having their own jokes. They would be talking in the kitchen, and when I walked in, they would stop and smile. Just talking about a silly TV show, Clara would say. I smiled back. I didn't want to feel left out. They were my husband and my best friend. I trusted them. Daniel started changing too. He became more distant with me. When I tried to talk to him about my day at school, he seemed tired. His eyes would be on his phone or on the TV. But when Clara talked, he listened. He laughed at all her jokes. He looked at her in a way he used to look at me. Bright, interested. I tried to ignore the feeling in my stomach. It was a tight, uncomfortable feeling. You're just being silly, Rachel, I told myself. You're tired. You're stressed. I didn't want to think bad thoughts about the two people I loved most. I remember one Saturday afternoon. I was in the garden planting flowers. Leo was helping me. Daniel and Clara were inside, making lunch. I could hear them laughing through the open window. It was a loud, happy laugh. For a moment, my heart felt a pang of something. It felt like their laughter was a secret language I couldn't understand. I felt like I was outside, looking into my own home, seeing my life happen without me. Leo looked at me. "Mommy, are you sad?" he asked. His small voice pulled me back. I forced a smile. "No, sweetie. Mommy is not sad. Look at this beautiful red flower." I pushed the feeling down. Deep down, I told myself I was lucky. Lucky to have a husband and a best friend who got along so well. I was so wrong. The weeks turned into a month. Clara was still living with us. She wasn't looking for a new job very hard. She said she was taking a break. She started to change her appearance. She wore more makeup around the house. She bought new clothes, nicer dresses. She looked beautiful. "You look amazing, Clara," I told her honestly. I was happy for her. I thought maybe she was building her confidence back. Daniel noticed too. "Wow, Clara, you look great," he would say at dinner. He said it a lot. He rarely complimented me anymore. He used to tell me I was beautiful every day. Now, the silence from him was loud. Our 10th wedding anniversary was coming up. I was so excited. 10 years. It felt like a big milestone. I planned a special dinner. I booked a table at our favorite restaurant, the one where he proposed. I thought it would be romantic, a way for us to connect again. The night of our anniversary, Daniel seemed distracted. He kept checking his phone. At dinner, he gave me my gift. It was a beautiful necklace, but it felt cold, like he had asked his assistant to buy it. There was no personal story behind it. Then he gave me a card. Inside, he wrote, "Happy 10 years. Love, Daniel." That was it. No long message. No memories. Just 4 words. My heart sank. When we got home, Clara was waiting. She had baked us a cake. A beautiful cake decorated with our names. And she gave us a gift. It was a framed photo album. It was full of pictures of me and Daniel, from our college days to our life with Leo. She had collected them all. It was so thoughtful, so personal. "This is amazing, Clara," Daniel said. His voice was full of emotion. "Thank you. This is the best gift." He looked at her with so much warmth, more warmth than he had shown me all evening. He hugged her, a long hug. I stood there, holding my new, cold necklace, watching them, and the tight feeling in my stomach came back. Stronger this time. It felt like a warning, a red flag, but I still ignored it. I didn't want to believe what my eyes were seeing. The final wall of my happy life started to crack a few weeks later. Daniel told me he had to go on a business trip for the weekend. "It's a last-minute thing," he said. "A big conference. I have to go." I was disappointed. We had planned to take Leo to the zoo. But I understood. His job was important. The day he left, Clara told me she was going to visit an old aunt in another city. "I'll be back on Sunday night," she said. It seemed like a coincidence. The house felt so empty that weekend. Just me and Leo. On Saturday evening, I was scrolling through social media. I saw a post from a mutual friend, a woman who used to work with Daniel. She had posted pictures from a party, and in the background of one picture, I saw him. I saw Daniel. He was not at a conference. He was at a party in our city, and standing next to him, laughing, was Clara. My world stopped. I zoomed in on the picture. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. It was them. There was no doubt. They were together. They had lied to me. Both of them. Why would they lie? My mind was racing. The business trip was a lie. Clara's aunt was a lie. They wanted to be together, alone, without me, without Leo. The pain was so sharp, I felt like I couldn't breathe. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat on the sofa in the dark, staring at the picture on my phone, the picture of their betrayal. All the small moments from the past few months came rushing back. The secret laughter, the long looks, the distance, the lies. It all made sense now. A horrible, painful sense. When Daniel came home on Sunday night, he was smiling. "I'm back," he said. "I missed you." I just looked at him. I couldn't speak. Clara came home an hour later. "My trip was fine," she said. "How was your weekend?" They were so calm, so normal. It made me feel sick. I waited until Leo was asleep. Then I walked into the living room. Daniel and Clara were watching a movie, laughing. I turned off the television. They both looked at me, surprised. I held up my phone. I showed them the picture. "How was the conference, Daniel?" I asked. My voice was cold. I didn't recognize it. How was your aunt, Clara? The color drained from their faces. They looked at each other. In that one look, I saw everything. Guilt, fear, and their shared secret. Daniel tried to speak. Rachel, it's not what you think. Isn't it? I said. My voice was shaking now with anger and hurt. You lied to me, both of you. You lied so you could be together. Clara stood up. Rachel, let us explain. Explain what? I shouted. I couldn't hold it in anymore. Tears were streaming down my face. Explain how my best friend stole my husband. Explain how the man I loved for 10 years betrayed me. With her, in our home, while I was taking care of our son. Daniel finally broke. He put his head in his hands. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. You didn't mean for it to happen. I looked at him, my heart breaking into a million pieces. You made a choice, Daniel. Every day. You chose to lie to me. You chose her. I turned to Clara, my so-called sister. And you, I said, my voice full of pain. I trusted you. I loved you. I let you into my home, my family. How could you do this to me? She couldn't look at me. She just stared at the floor. I fell in love with him, she whispered. I couldn't help it. You couldn't help it, I said in disbelief. Love doesn't do this. Love doesn't destroy another person. Love isn't selfish. This isn't love. It's betrayal. The worst kind. I looked at both of them. The two people who were my entire world. Now they were strangers. Strangers who had destroyed my life. I want you both to leave, I said. My voice was quiet again. Empty. Clara, get your things. And Daniel, you can go with her. Rachel, please, Daniel begged. Let's talk about this. We can fix this. No, I said firmly. There is nothing to fix. My family is broken. My heart is broken. And my trust is gone forever. Now, get out of my house. Watching them pack their things was surreal. It felt like a bad dream. Clara, my best friend, packed the bags she had brought into my home. Daniel, my husband, packed a bag with his clothes. They didn't look at me. They couldn't. When they were ready, they stood at the door. Goodbye, Rachel, Daniel said. His voice was thick with tears. I didn't answer. I just stared at the wall. I heard the door close. And then there was silence. A heavy, painful silence. I slid down to the floor, and I cried. I cried for my lost love, for my lost friendship, for my broken family. I cried for the happy song that I would never hear again. The days after they left were a blur. The house was so quiet. Too quiet. Every room held a memory that was now painful. I saw Daniel's favorite chair. I saw the teacup Clara always used. I felt like a ghost in my own home. I had to be strong for Leo. That was the hardest part. How do you explain this to a 7-year-old? I told him that Daddy was going to live somewhere else for a while. His little face was so confused. Is he coming back? He asked. Is Aunt Clara coming back? My heart broke every time he asked. I didn't have the answers. I felt so alone. The two people I always turned to for comfort were the cause of my pain. I was ashamed. I didn't want to tell my family. I didn't want to tell my other friends. I felt like a failure. My perfect life had fallen apart, and I felt like it was somehow my fault. What did I do wrong? Was I not a good enough wife? A good enough friend? My mind was a storm of sad and angry thoughts. I was angry at them. So angry. How could they be so selfish? So cruel? But I was also so sad. I missed the man I married. I missed the girl who was my best friend. I missed my life. Slowly, I started to talk. I called my mom, telling her was so hard, but she just listened. She didn't blame me. She just said, "I'm coming over." She stayed with me for a week. She helped with Leo. She cooked for me. She let me cry. Her presence was a small light in my darkness. I also started seeing a therapist, a kind woman who helped me understand my feelings. She told me it was okay to be angry. It was okay to be sad. She told me that what happened was not my fault. It was their choice, their weakness. Hearing that from someone else helped a little. Healing is a long and slow process. It's not a straight path. There were days I felt strong. I would take Leo to the park. I would focus on my students at school. I would feel like maybe I could be okay. But then there were days when the sadness came back like a big wave. I would see a happy couple holding hands, and tears would fill my eyes. I would hear a song on the radio that Daniel and I loved, and my heart would ache. I had to deal with the divorce. It was painful and messy. Daniel and Clara were living together now. I had to see them with lawyers. They looked like strangers. Their betrayal had changed them. It had changed me too. But through all the pain, I discovered something. I discovered my own strength. The strength I never knew I had. I was a mother. I was a teacher. I was a survivor. I was more than just a wife or a friend. I was Rachel. And I was still here. I started to build a new life. A different life. Just for me and Leo. We painted his bedroom a bright, happy yellow. We started new traditions. Friday night is now our pizza and movie night. We laugh a lot. His laughter is the best music in the world. I learned that sometimes the people you love the most can hurt you the most. I learned that trust is a fragile thing. Once it's broken, it's very hard to repair. And I learned that you can't control other people's actions. You can only control your own. My life is not a perfect song anymore. It's quieter now. Some days are still hard. The scars on my heart are still there. But I am not broken. The story of my life is not over. It's just a new chapter. A chapter I am writing myself. If you are listening to this, and your heart is hurting, please know this. You are not alone. Betrayal is a terrible pain. It feels like the end of the world, but it's not. You are stronger than you think. Let yourself feel the sadness. Let yourself feel the anger, but don't let it become your home. There is still happiness to be found. There is still love. And the most important love is the love you have for yourself. Be kind to yourself. You deserve peace. You can heal. Keep going.